This is Oliver Askew, and you're listening to the Indy Sports Car Podcast.
This is Rob Howden, the voice of the Mazda Road to Indy, and you're listening to the Indy Sports Car Podcast.
Hey, this is Will Power, and you're listening to the Indy Sports Car Podcast.
Welcome, ICP fans, to another episode of the Indy Sports Car Podcast. Hey, Mizzy.
Hello, hello.
Jared, how are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Very well. And Josh Farmer, how are you, buddy?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Very well. We got Josh Farmer and Jared DePow back on the show. Two fan favorites, two returning champs of ICP. And we were all at Iowa together, so this is going to be a Iowa heavy episode talking about the great quintessential, almost mile oval that IndyCar needs to race more at. I must say, Missy, do you agree?
I like this oval. It's a nice oval.
Whatever she just said. Jared, Josh, you guys got any complaints with this, or you agree?
No, I love Iowa. It's always been my second favorite oval outside of Indy.
I've come to like Iowa a lot more since I started covering this business. I mean, the racing's fantastic. The people working there put on a good show, and I mean, it kind of epitomizes what's cool about IndyCar, of how we go to so many different kinds of tracks. That we can go from streets of Long Beach to the cornfields of Iowa, quite literally.
Honestly, and then the magnificent, natural terrain road course of Road America. Oh God, that was hard to say. You know what I mean? And then pretty soon we're coming up to Pocono, but not so fast, Mid Ohio next. But I mean, it's just, that's why IndyCar is great, and that's why to be a champion of IndyCar just means you are the top dog driver of the world, because you've mastered every single discipline of open wheel racing, hands down, and it proves it.
Yeah, they definitely need more of these short ovals on the schedule. It was sad to see Phoenix go, but with the changes that it was made to it 10 years ago or whatever by NASCAR, made it completely unusable for IndyCar.
Yeah, NASCAR tends to do that with what they touch. But, I mean, we need to go back to Loudon. I highly, I mean, the first race we ever went to, Missy and I, was Loudon, New Hampshire. And I think that was the one race that pretty much hooked Missy in. Right, Miss?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, I mean, it had everything. It had Tony Kanaan doing a 360 in the air, knocking a porta potty over on the backstretch. It had Danica Patrick taking out half the field before, granted, they should have never thrown that green flag. And it had the infamous Will Power double birds. I mean, we need to go back to Loudon.
Yeah, you could even, with a lot of work from the track, run the road to Indy there, not just on the oval, but they have a pretty sweet infield road course there up in New Hampshire.
Isn't it like an infield, outfield kind of thing?
It is. And so it would take a lot of work with the track and stuff, but if you could find a way to run on both the oval and that road course in the same weekend, you're talking about a huge draw for the fans, because that's always been the limiting factor of ovals, is you don't get a whole lot of support series, if anything. So there's not much for the fans to do, because there isn't a whole lot of on-track product. So that's where the ovals kind of fall short for the fans. But if you can get one to fill out all of the track activity all day long, then you're really making a show for the fans and bringing in money for the track.
Exactly, dude. And it's just same thing with Iowa. I mean, Iowa, there's no reason Indy Lights shouldn't be there.
Well, the only reason they're not there is because
I
for
know.
3 straight weeks to go from Toronto to Iowa to Mid-Ohio is a lot for these teams that don't have a whole lot of money.
I get that. I mean, but next year, Indy Lights is literally going to double. So they're going to go from 9 to 18 easily. So you figure
Oh.
with like 3 new teams coming in. So, I mean, 2 new teams and a returning team at this point anyway. And, I mean, we have a whole off season to add some more. So, I mean, so, you know, let's, I mean, we always like to start off with Formula Uno. Anything to talk about with Formula One? Did anything happen last week?
No, they
No,
didn't
it
race.
was an off weekend.
Okay, good. So we don't have to talk about Formula Uno. All right, so,
Wait,
and
wait, they are racing at
I don't care. So, I'm kidding. Where are they going?
they're in Germany.
Nürburgring or Hockenheim?
Hockenheim.
Hockenheim. All right. So we'll be talking about that next week. Right on. So do you have some sort of a TV schedule for people who want to watch it at 3 in the morning?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Well, that wasn't very helpful. Formula One, you suck.
Why are you on ESPN?
Because I clicked on the broadcasting schedule and they gave me options of where, what I watch it on, and I clicked ESPN and it took me here. Why would it take me to the TV schedule?
Don't they play it on NBC Sports Network?
No, it's
Oh, yeah, it is on
ESPN has
ESPN.
exclusive
That's
broadcast
right.
rights to Formula One.
Well,
They just simulcast Skynet's
Skynet.
the British Sky
I was gonna
F1.
say, like,
They
when did they put Skynet online? I mean, shouldn't the world have
it's
ended?
not. ESPN just basically rebroadcasts
It was
the
a-
British
It was a Terminator
F1
reference.
telecast.
Good.
Simulcast. There.
Well, it was a Terminator reference, Jared.
Oh, well.
Get it, Skynet?
I've never seen the Terminator.
You never seen a single
Oh,
Terminator movie?
God.
Are you
Are
kidding
I-
me?
That might be for a different podcast, but no, I haven't seen any Terminator movies, and I know I should.
Josh?
I'm in Jared's camp on this one,
Oh
unfortunately.
my goodness. Oh my God, you two and Christian, I can't believe the movies you have not seen.
We
Well-
can't hear you guys anymore.
Well,
it's-
maybe we can just do a date night this weekend
yes,
and watch
dude, we can all
Terminator.
jump on Skype and I can screen share it with you guys and we can enjoy probably the best movie ever made is Terminator 2, hands down. Dude, Arnold Schwarzenegger jumps off of a bridge on a Harley and lands it like you do.
And random fun fact, it was actually filmed at the site of the current Auto Club Speedway, believe it or not.
What, that scene?
No, just I know part of the movie was filmed at the steel mill that they built the track on top of.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because the end of the movie is a steel mill, but I that's as far as I'm going. Because I don't want to ruin a great movie for you guys. Okay, so, but yeah, if anybody wants to berate these two fine gentlemen about not seeing Terminator 2, where can they find you guys, real quick? There's a good plug for you guys. I'm kidding. We'll do that at the end of the show. But two fine journalists we have on with us today.
Obviously, movies aren't their topic.
Apparently not. But IndyCar sure is. So, and writing about IndyCar sure is. So, Jared, what was your story that you were focusing on this weekend or past weekend?
This weekend, I want to focus on the 2-year anniversary. They unveiled the Universal Aero Kit at Mid-Ohio 2 years ago, and I want to write something about the reception of it, how it's impacted the racing, amongst other things.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, the Aero Kit that they're going to race at Mid-Ohio is pretty much the Aero Kit they raced at Iowa, right? It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's still the same. The road course short oval package.
And I mean, and a lot of things that people didn't realize is that they did give them the boost of 700 to 750 horsepower that they'll have at Mid-Ohio at Iowa. which
Yes,
was
that was a good idea. Anything you can do to up the horsepower to make the cars have to get off the gas, possibly even brake going into corners on oval, makes it better. Put it more into the driver's hands instead of just flat out all the way around that the old aero kits were able to do.
exactly. And breaking news while we're doing this show: R.C. Enerson to race for Carlin at Mid Ohio.
That wasn't breaking news, but
Well, it's breaking news on my
you just seen the tweet,
my
didn't you?
iPhone watch thingy. So it's breaking news to me. I just got back from buying a Telecaster neck, so yeah, I've been busy. Anyways, who is he? Whose seat is he taking? Is it Sage's?
Yeah, he's going to be filling in to the 31.
Nice. Okay. And by the way, I did win a bet. Everybody's asking who's going to bring out the first caution in Iowa. I won.
You did win that bet. I thought about that as soon as it happened. I turned around to see if you were there because I knew Frank was right.
I was on pit lane enjoying every second of it because I have him right in front of me. No, but you know what? Like, I'm turning a corner on Sage. I gotta admit, he's shown a lot more maturity since the last time he was in IndyCar. I mean, IndyCar proper, I should say, not Indy 500, but IndyCar just an IndyCar race in general during the season. And I was talking to Missy about it. Missy, you agree, right?
Yes. You know what? I can't with you. I can't. I am the one that brought this to light and brought you around to seeing my point of view that I think he has gotten more mature
My opinion
lately,
is...
so you stuff it.
I can change my opinion, It is possible.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But then you turn around and make it seem like it was your own idea to switch it around. Stealing it from Missy.
Yep.
I gave her credit. I said I changed my opinion based on what Missy was telling me, right, Miss? And then she throws me under the bus. So you can stuff it also, Jared. Josh, thoughts about Sage?
I would agree that he's turned a corner. Honestly, it's kind of hard to kind of gauge if he can cut it behind the wheel, just because Carlin has struggled somewhat immensely this year, and they're still learning the nuances of an IndyCar. And plus, with Sage only running the Indy 500 the last couple of years, it's kind of hard to see where he stacks up on short ovals and on road and street courses, just because he just hasn't done it enough. Yeah. And he had a lot of success in Indy Lights and the road to Indy, but you got to think when he won the Indy Lights Championship, that was pre IL-15 as well.
It really was. And you know what? Like, when he brought out the first caution, he saved it and he was able to keep going. So good on him on that. And then the second caution he brought out, that wasn't his fault. I would throw that totally on Takuma Sato, honestly. I think so.
Well, it's not even that much Takuma's fault. I mean, Takuma did the best he can to save it. It's just a situation where you have all those cars that close together running multiple lanes. You don't have really any room to escape. And even if you have split-second reflexes and see that your closure rate is super great, you may be stuck with another car to the inside and you got nowhere to go. He may have had no choice but to run into Sato.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you can blame Sato, but it was really... I would just put it as it's racing.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, well, I guess my point was Sage wasn't at fault there. Is my point.
Right.
Valid.
And hey, that's coming from me, so hey, there you go. Yeah. See, I'm turning the corner. Because even if that wasn't Sage's fault, I would somewhat make it into Sage's fault prior to this week. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? But I think I had the most fun watching Santino Ferrucci. Really impressed me at Iowa, and then after he got up into the top 5, 6, him and Rossi, him and Rossi's battle in the beginning of the race was really, really entertaining.
It's pretty amazing what someone with like no oval experience just shows up and has already figured them out, figured out running multiple lanes, passing on the outside, saving it, avoiding crashes. It's kind of very impressive.
That's what I mean. Like, and but we have to. I mean, that aside, I would say the golden. What can I say? How can I put this? I was going to say the golden. The best. I mean, the best drive of the entire race. I thought I was going for something. There's something I was going. I lost it. So, but I would say Dixon had the most amazing drive of the entire race.
He had the luckiest drive.
Well, I mean, luck, yes, but you have to put yourself in that position to get those 2 laps back and then end up on the podium. Come on, man. I mean, you know.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, honestly, if I can jump in here.
yeah, no, go right ahead.
I mean, it kind of epitomizes why Dixon is as successful as he is. Of you have days where he's having a crummy day, running 2 laps down, struggling with the handling. The tires are burning up in the searing Iowa heat, even though it was a lot cooler because we got the green flag pushed out as late as we did because of the weather. But and then in that final stint, he just he just passed everybody left and right, and he didn't have anything to show for Joseph Newgarden, but that's why Dixon's so good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, and once again, Joseph Newgarden, the class of Iowa. I mean, I've seen it all too many times. Just dominating Iowa. Joseph Newgarden. I mean, this is what, the second or third time I've seen this easily.
Yeah, he led 245 laps out of the 300. I would say that's pretty dominant.
It's as dumb as you can get. I mean, I thought it Will might have been. And what happened with Will? I mean, like, it's
he when he was coming down on one of his pit stops, he kind of locked it up a little bit, overcooked it, and brought 2 wheels over the double white line on pit entry. I believe.
I
know someone else had done it earlier in the race. I thought it was. Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Someone. Oh, wait, I got it right here. Marcus Ericsson did the same thing, not 9 laps before Will did it. Just overcooked it, trying to go into pit lane, took 2 wheels over the line, so technically he went back onto the racetrack, which is why he was assessed to stop and go. Both of them were.
At least they were consistent, I guess. Race control has been very consistent this year. I have no qualms with race control this year. Does anybody else?
No, I mean, no qualms for me, and that's kind of how it should be. Race control really shouldn't really be the story.
No.
Yeah, Cal Novak does a great job there. They've been consistent, and like Josh said, anytime the officials are part of the story is not a good thing.
You hear that, F1?
Shots fired.
Now, Missy, you laughed when I said that. Why are you laughing?
Oh no, I was just I was reading a tweet.
Okay, share.
It was it was between Connor Daly and Santino Ferrucci.
Okay, share.
Shots fired.
What?
It was just IndyCar tweeted out a video of Santino Ferrucci, when he did the Highline pass and everybody, and Connor Daly just made a comment about lap 74 is actually lap 274, a perfect example of how to jump the restart and get away with it. Nice to see what they looked like, but hey, impressive stuff up there, young lad. To which Santino Ferrucci replied, didn't jump the restart, dude. If you listen to the driver briefing, they said once the leader goes flat, it's green flag. Just caught you taking a nap. And it continues to, shoot, that's on me. I didn't know you were the leader. Look, man, you did some great stuff out there. And to be honest, I actually quite enjoyed that restart myself. Managed to nap right by 4 or 5 cars, but sadly, we all don't get highlight videos. Keep it rocking, my man.
Wait, who said which what there?
That was Connor that just said that.
Connor sounds better. Connor sounds like, yeah, he sounds better. Now, is Connor going to be racing with Carlin at Mid-Ohio?
No, it's Max Chilton's back in the 59.
So it's just
and
gonna be
then
two
RC
Carlin
Anderson
cars?
doing the
That's right,
31.
Yeah. That's right, RC, yep. And that, so it's RC, Chilton, and right, Kimball. That's right. Or is it? Yeah, it's Kimball, right?
No, I don't think
Kimball's no, he's not
No.
there this weekend.
So it's only going to be 2 Carlin cars then?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Harvey is into the 60, so that brings it up to 23.
Okay, so Michael Shank Racing back again. I mean, how many races did they not race so far this year? I mean, he wasn't at Iowa.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen, it's mostly the ovals outside of Indy that they're not doing. And I totally get it. Jack's not a oval guy, and when you're only got really one chassis,
yeah, you
don't want to risk it.
Yeah, there's no point in risking your road course setup on an oval.
Right, on an oval, yeah.
Makes sense.
I did actually see a tweet out of Dragon Speed earlier today that they would love to come back and race, but they've been having issues with the visas for Ben Hanley and the crew, and apparently they can't seem to get into the country.
Why
they're
do so many?
They're waiting on this tweet from Dragon Speed about 10 hours ago said they're still alive. They've had 3 more endurance races since the 500. Unfortunately, they've been stung by visa issues for their crew and driver, and they're waiting resolution by the government. But it will not discourage them from their eventual planned return. So I'm willing to bet that they've had plans to do some of these later road course races of the season and haven't been able to.
I'm glad Homeland Security is really stepping up their game and making sure motorsport, what are they doing?
Yeah, no, those Brits, man. You want to keep those guys out of the country.
Yeah, because we all know the problems they cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Speed team is just in themselves isn't a fascinating story. How it's the same driver and crew that will go from their endurance car one weekend to the Indycar to the next, back to the endurance car. It's a pretty amazing story following those guys around.
Yeah, they're in WEC, right?
Yes. Yeah, they believe they have an LMP1 car. It's LMP1 or LMP2.
I can't keep track over there. Wait, does LMP1 even exist there anymore? They do.
Yeah, they still exist, and next year they're going to their hypercar regulations.
Oh boy.
So, yeah. Which, if you guys haven't checked it out, the Aston Martin's returning to prototype with the hypercar with the Valkyrie in it, and it looks like something straight out of a James Bond movie. It looks pretty sexy.
Right on. Have to check it out. All right. So, I don't know. We always like to give grades to the race, but first, Missy, do you have the finishing lineup for Iowa?
Yes. So, the Iowa 300. You had, as we said, Joseph Newgarden was your winner, followed by Scott Dixon, and James Hinchcliffe takes his first podium of the year. In third, Then you had Simon Pagino, Spencer Piggott, Alexander Rossi, Zach Veach, Graham Rahal, Sebastian Bourdais, Tony Kanaan were your top 10. Then you had Marcus Ericsson, Santino Ferrucci, Connor Daly, Felix Rosenquist, Will Power, Matthias Lace, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Colton Herta, Ed Carpenter, Takuma Sato, Marco Andretti, and Sage Karam. What was your finishing order for the Iowa 300?
What has Marco Andretti got to do to, or, I mean, it's 260 plus races now, 2 wins. Yeah. I don't know what to say anymore about it. I mean, week after week after week, he shows good speed and good promise during practice and everything, and then by the time the race comes, he's just, where is he? I don't know. Does anybody else have any thoughts on Marco?
Well, if I can jump in, Marco, just given the name Andretti, he's got kind of that alone makes it kind of a tough act to follow, of how Michael was the most successful driver in the history of kart. So, arguably the most successful driver of the 90s, minus the Indy 500 win. And then Mario is an absolute legend of motorsport. And so Marco's got kind of a tough act to follow there. And I think that goes along with it, of we have these expectations that, because of that.
Fair enough. I mean, but like, how far does a last name really go? I guess as far as, I guess we're seeing it.
Well, it's the Andretti name. You could go to just about any other racing family name, and it doesn't carry the kind of weight that the Andretti name does.
No.
It's definitely a one-off. Like you can't compare like the kind of pressure that Marco has to something, say, any of the Unzers have, or any bigger racing family, multiple generations, because it's the Andretti name. You ask anybody who's never even really heard of the Indy 500, but they've heard of Mario Andretti.
Yeah, true.
And the one thing that I have wondered is, if Marco would have won that Indy 500 with Hornish in that duel, would his story have taken a completely different turn? Because he would have brought the Andretti name back to victory lane, and winning the Indy 500 changes your life. Where finishing second in the Indy 500 by half a car length, there's all of the joy in that goes away like that.
Yeah, you'd have to ask J.R. Hildebrand how he feels, because that's honestly, those two are probably the two worst, like, bad beats, like the worst two possible stories for someone to lose a race. For Marco to get passed with seconds left, and for JR to crash coming out of turn 4, lap 200. It's the heartbreak is, I don't think it's something you ever get over. I can guarantee you that moment still resonates inside Marco. He may tell you that he's over it, he got over it, but he never really did. That kind of heartbreak is, you can never get over that.
No, definitely not. Yeah, that was 2011 J.R. Hildebrand. But everybody remembers that, but nobody really remembers. I guess we do, but the common fan really doesn't remember Marco finishing second there. Plus, it was so long ago. How long ago was that now? 2006?
Yeah, so 13, 14 years, if my math is correct.
Well, and Marco's definitely the best example of how far the sport has come in the last 15 years in terms of the quality of the drivers. Back in Marco's era, when he started in 2006, before the reunification, there in the IRL, he had almost no competition. The quality of the drivers back then was so low. But once you reunify and bring in the best of the two, and then it only has grown exponentially since they reunified over 10 years ago. So it's every year it gets harder and harder, not just for Marco to win, but for anyone to win.
True. And I mean, I mean, you guys have been there since the reunification, right? Like, just like we, and like, I mean, did you? I mean, have you? I mean, have you foreseen IndyCar being where they are this quickly a decade later? I mean, I expected it maybe in like 2021, 2022 for them to be where they're at right now. I think they're way ahead of where they expected to be. But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're certainly not spinning their wheels anymore, but we've definitely seen some of the interest increase of, I mean, we're seeing new, different kinds of partnerships coming about. Like in the 90s, in kart, we had a crap load of tobacco sponsors that brought humongous sums of money into the operation.
Yeah.
Where it's like now we're seeing that kind of get replaced with companies like Gainbridge that's sponsoring Zach Veach, or Sealmaster sponsoring Sebastian Bourdais.
Or like NTT Data sponsoring the series, which I still don't know what they do, but still,
If you want a fax line in Japan, NTT is the company to call.
That's right. If you want to send a fax to Japan, you call up NTT Data, because, I mean, I've never. I mean, who sends faxes anymore?
I do.
Well, okay, Missy does, but she's a nurse. That's different. I don't know. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, I'm really proud of what the series has accomplished. I know Jay Fry is a huge, reason for that. Derek Walker cannot be forgotten of setting the template for Jay Fry to follow. So you can't forget about what Derek Walker has contributed back in 2012-ish. That type of, the beginning there. But I was very happy with the Iowa turnout. Even the Iowa, even the fans that stayed for the race, it was the stands were still pretty packed, considering the last couple of years. I mean, very, very happy for the Iowa turnout. I must say we need more turnouts like that for ovals if we're going to, have more oval tracks interested in even hosting the series.
Yeah, big kudos to all the fans that stuck around, because they got to see a pretty good show under the lights. And the only hope is that Iowa and IndyCar leadership can come together to push back the start next year to maybe 8 o'clock, get it started about an hour or so before it gets dark, and then that way you help to avoid the glare that the drivers experienced as the sun set. Well, they got that in practice, not during the race, but it is an issue as the sun sets across turn 3 and 4 that you can't see anything.
I mean, honestly, that storm couldn't have happened at a better time, because, I mean, it made it even more interesting. Because
could have happened at 10 a.m.
My point being is it pushed back the race to make it a pure night race instead of a dusk race. And the temperature dropped nicely, which really set the team scrambling to see who could get the best setup that they haven't even tried yet on this track, and it just made it that much more exciting, I think. Plus, I'm a big fan of watching a race in not 90-degree sweltering heat, so yeah. But that's me. But at any rate. And so yeah, I mean, kudos to the fans that stuck around. It was a good amount. That was for sure.
You had to go from Saturday or Friday with the autograph session, moving it underneath the grandstand so that everybody could be in the shade, to downpour and then much cooler temperatures. It has to be an engineer's nightmare to spend all that time tuning and setting up the car for basically 90-degree heat, only to have a bunch of rain come through after all the cars have passed tech, and you can't really touch them after that point.
Exactly.
So that threw every engineer in the paddock a big curveball.
I mean, even Sage had something to say about it, right, Moose?
Yes, he did.
What did he say? Missy had a one-on-one with Sage Cameron about it.
Wouldn't say it was a one-on-one, but
Well,
yeah.
you talked to him one-on-one about it. That's what I meant.
Yes, I did get a chance to see Sage before the race, and yeah, he thought it was going to be interesting because the setups were all for 100-degree on-track weather, and then the weather wound up dropping 20 degrees with the rain and everything that came. So.
And not to mention, the rain was such a tremendous downpour that it just turned the track totally green. So there's no more rubber left, I mean, I think it just like the rain almost made the race even more interesting to see what was going to happen, because it was such a, I don't know what's going to happen now, since everything is just so much different than everybody's been planning for. And I mean, I didn't see the broadcast yet, but I hope the broadcast did, bring a lot of attention to that. I don't know if it did or not. I mean, did anybody else watch the broadcast after they got home?
I haven't had a chance.
I didn't, but I did get a first-hand view of the storms, and it was pretty good.
A lot of lightning.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's what we call down south a strog strangler.
A what? A strog strangler?
Yeah, or a frog strangler.
A frog strangler. I just don't get the.
I went to high school in Tennessee. It's Southern slang.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll ask
damn
Joseph
Yankee.
what that means.
You'll ask who?
I'll ask Joseph Newgarden.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he's from Tennessee, but he certainly doesn't sound like it.
Well, that'll be the true test of if he's truly from Tennessee, if he knows what that means.
That's the first thing I'm going to ask him when I see him in Mid-Ohio. Like, Joseph, frog strangler, go. And he's gonna look at me like I'm insane.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure, Josh, you're going to be there, right?
Mid-Ohio? Nope.
No?
No. Next race for me will be Gateway, more than likely.
No Pocono either, huh? Yeah. How about you, Jared?
After Mid-Ohio, my last race of the year will be Laguna Seca.
Okay, so you'll be there next weekend, or this weekend come up, I should say.
Oh yeah, I leave tomorrow night for Mid-Ohio.
Right on. And in Mid-Ohio, huge race for I keep someone to say it. Road to Indy. Mid-Ohio is always a huge race for them. I think Indy Lights and if Parker Thompson can finally have a really good weekend here, I think he might be able to put himself into first place in Indy Pro 2000. Maybe not, but maybe. And we had Hunter McElroy on last week, so if you guys haven't heard that show, make sure to check it out. Hunter's a great dude. And he was talking about Mid-Ohio a little bit there, and he's looking forward to it. So, a lot of talent out of him with Paps Racing. Paps, right? I didn't screw it up, did I?
Yes, Paps Racing.
Okay, good. All right, right on. Is any news on Aaron Telitz for Bilardi for Indy Lights at Mid-Ohio? Does anybody have any news on that, if he's going to be racing there? Because I know it's always like a week or a race thing with him right now.
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything either, but I haven't really kept up with it either.
That's true. I mean, and normally it's like a last minute thing, to be honest. You always hear about it like a day or two before. So, and we're doing this on a Wednesday, so chances are it'll come out tomorrow if he's going to be out there or not. I mean, I hope he does, because Aaron deserves it, but
I do see that St. Petersburg confirmed that they're going to be on the IndyCar schedule through 2024.
Is anybody else surprised by this?
No, I mean, St. Petersburg's been a very successful event, and it's,
Definitely.
I mean, honestly, it's a good way to kick off a season in a warm weather venue, and St. Pete's an awesome city, so the race goes very well with that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, like, turn one for all the new guys in USF 2000 has to be one of the most exciting, first turns of the beginning of a season I've ever seen. Hands down. So.
I am seeing here that Aaron Telitz is racing for Bilardi this weekend.
There you go. Right on. Right on. Why weren't you on top of that, miss?
Sorry, it's not on motorsport.
If it's not on motorsport, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, you're talking about Parker Thompson, Indy Pro 2000. It's been a pretty big ride here for Kyle Kirkwood the last couple races.
Kyle Kirkwood's got a lot of talent, man.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about a big three. I mean, between Rasmus Lynn, Parker Thompson, Kyle Kirkwood, you got a three-way battle for Indy Pro 2000 championship right now.
Yep. And then, you
got two big races coming up this weekend, and they only have 4 left.
Yeah, and plus Indy Lights, you got Ollie Askew, Robert McGinnis, and Renus VK too. You got a 3-way battle going on right there. Well,
yeah.
I mean,
show favorite Bobo McGinnis.
Bobo McGinnis.
He's a little further back. Ryan Norman's in between him, so.
Ryan Norman's been the biggest surprise in Indy Lights, I think. No one's seen Ryan Norman having the season that he's had. But, I'm happy for him. What, you have?
No,
you did?
I said it's about time.
Oh, it's about time. It only took him 7 years, or however long he's been there. That's not a dig on Ryan Norman or anything. Or maybe it sounded like it was, but I didn't mean it that way.
I'll tell you what, though. The one thing I'm looking forward to most this weekend is Robbie Gordon's Super Trucks.
Yeah, that's gonna be something.
Those are always a crowd favorite.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was gonna be there.
Yeah, we have all the Road to Indy, the MX-5s, and Robbie Gordon this weekend. This will be a jam-packed weekend at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, this will be our 10th year in a row going there. Can't believe 10 years in a row.
Yeah, I encourage anybody within a couple hours of Mid-Ohio to go down there.
Is the old lady coming with you this year?
Nope, I am flying solo. She'll be with me for the last race at Laguna Seca, though.
Right on. Right on. So, I'm sorry. Did we didn't give a grade for Iowa? I forgot to ask. Missy, grade for Iowa.
I'll give it an A-.
Ooh, that's the first A- of the season?
No, I've given out an A-.
She's giving out 1 A- of the season. Okay. Right on.
Listen, I'm hard to impress.
She really is. I don't know why she's with me if she's so hard to impress. I
ask myself that every day.
Yeah, I ask myself that too. Josh?
I'd give it a B+.
B+. Okay, fair enough. I'm right there with you too there, Josh. B+. Jared?
I'm right in the middle there, B+, A-. If it wasn't for getting home at almost 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, it might have gotten a little bit better rating.
Boo-hoo, we didn't get home till freaking 9:30 Monday. Oh, yeah, good grades.
It was a really enjoyable race. It was nice to see tire strategy, playing out, guys taking risks. It was quite enjoyable.
I enjoyed
if you were able to stay up late enough to watch it.
I think a lot of people did. I mean, I haven't heard any ratings come through yet, but I haven't looked either. I don't know if anybody else has, but either way.
I'll find out.
So, well, right on. I can't believe it's already been 45 minutes. We've been all right. Right on. This has gone by very nicely. So very nicely, very smooth. Okay, so we like to. Missy, do you have the the TV schedule and all that for Road to Indy and IndyCar for Mid Ohio come up this weekend?
Yes,
All
I
right.
do.
Well, we'll do that, and then we'll do poll and winner from everybody, and then do plugs, and then we'll call this a day. Right on. Good show. I just want to thank Jared and Josh for coming on.
And before we end, I do see the ratings for the Iowa race was a .12 overnight.
Not bad
But,
for being in an overnight.
Yeah, not
delay.
bad for not starting until midnight.
Exactly. So rock on. That's a great rating for that race.
And also in news, yesterday, the state of Indiana has approved sports betting on NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One as of September 1st.
Right.
So you could see a large presence of wagering at next year's Indy 500.
I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, look what it's done for football.
Yeah, I mean, right now, people are take their money to Vegas because about the only sports books that exist are either, I don't know, Atlantic City, Vegas.
Yep.
But having something down in Indy,
Hey, I'm only half hour
would
away from
be-
Atlantic City. There you go.
I won't have to go far to place bets. Just
Awesome.
kidding.
Yeah, I've kind of stepped away from gambling, but the funny thing, I know we don't cover the Fendered series on this show, but the odds on the guy that won Daytona in July, the long shot rookie, were 1,000 to 1. So do the math. If you would have put $100 on him, you'd be making out pretty well.
Yeah.
You could race in USF 2000.
And yeah, it would pay off all my debts.
And then some, even. Maybe.
Yeah,
Depending on how much debt you got. I don't know.
yeah, it would definitely be, and then some.
Yeah, right on. I would still owe, but still. So go ahead, Missy. What's the schedule?
Weekend schedule for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid Ohio. So everything gets kicked off on Friday, July 26th. You have it kicking off with USF 2000 practice starting at 8:50 a.m. and they will be streaming on the Road to Indy.tv. Then you have Indy Pro 2000 practice starts at 9:35. Then Indy Lights practice at 10:20 a.m. And again, that's all on the Road to Indy.tv. And then IndyCar will be practicing for their first practice at 11:20 a.m. and that's going to be on NBC Sports Gold. And it's autograph session. USF 2000 qualification for race 1 is going to happen at 1:55 p.m. again on Road to Indy.tv. Then you have Indy Lights qualification for race 1 will happen at 2:30 p.m. And this should all be Eastern Standard Time, even though it does not say that anywhere, but yes, all times Eastern. So 2:30 for Indy Lights qualifying for race 1. And then you have the IndyCar Series Practice 2 will happen at 3:15 p.m. on NBC Sports Gold. And then Indy Pro 2000 qualifying for race 1 will be at 4:15 p.m. on Friday. And then Saturday, it kicks off at 8:35 a.m. with USF 2000 qualifying for race 2. Then you have Indy Pro 2000 qualification for race 2 will happen at 9:10 a.m. And then you have Indy Lights qualifying for race 2 will happen at 9:45 a.m. Then we have IndyCar Series Practice 3 will happen at 10:30 a.m. on NBC Sports Gold. Then Indy Lights Race 1 will happen at 1:20 p.m. and that will be on NBC Sports Gold. And then IndyCar qualifying will happen at 2:35 p.m. and that's going to be on NBC Sports Network. And then after you have USF 2000 Race 1 will be at 4:05 p.m. again on Road to Indy.tv. And then Indy Pro 2000 Race 1 will be at 5 p.m. again on Road to Indy.tv. And then on Sunday, you have Indy Pro 2000 Race 2 happening at 10 a.m. Then you have USF 2000 Race 2 at 11:05. IndyCar will have their series warm-up at 12 p.m., and then it'll be on NBC Sports Gold. And then Indy Lights Race 2 will happen at 12:45 p.m., and that'll be on NBC Sports Gold. And then the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio will happen at 4:05 p.m., and that'll be on NBC.
Right
on Sunday.
And Missy, why don't you start off with your pole and your winner for the IndyCar race?
Pole and winner. Pole. Let's go with Joseph Newgarden. And for the win, let's go Alexander Rossi.
I know you're going to say Rossi.
He's going to bounce back this week.
Josh?
I'm going to say pole and win from Mr. Rossi as well.
Oh, back-to-back pole win. All right. Nice. Jared?
Oh, well, that's what I was going to go with as well. Alexander Rossi, I mean, he won pole and the race last year, and would be nice to see him kind of pull it a little closer into the championship, keep it up there with Joseph. But I can totally see Joseph probably finishing third as well to help keep it close.
Right on. I mean, personally, I can go with either one of all three of you guys, but I'm going to go out on a limb and go Will Power for the pole and the win. So, I know that's a shock to everybody. So.
Well, Will's had a bugger of a season so far. I'd hate to see him have another bad result and it turn to crikey.
Yeah, the funny thing about his season is, despite all the struggles, penalties, and mechanical problems he's had, the dude is still fifth in points.
I know he's still got a chance to, pull something together, and I mean he's always still there, and that's just the mark of a great driver. That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean if you look at it, even as successful as Scott Dixon is, I mean Will Power's won most of his races in this decade, and it's like, pound for pound, I'd say Will Power probably is the best naturally talented driver that we have. And it's just, if you think about all of the times in late in the season when he would choke and the championship slipped from his fingers, it's like he could be right up there with Dixon, having 4 champions and maybe 10 more wins.
Definitely. I mean, he misses one race, at St. Pete, and then it was the Pagano championship year, and at the end of Sonoma, he was the only driver that was even mathematically capable of winning. So that's crazy right there. That says it all right there, I think. But and before we get before we get through your plugs, guys, and leave this on a good note, I just want to shout out someone, a listener on Twitter. Won't give out his full name, but I'll just say Mr. Bentley. It's at Bentles, BENTLELS. Just want to, 5 days ago, shot out a tweet saying ICP podcast is without a doubt one of my favorite podcasts. I wait for it every week. Any race car fan should definitely check this out. Thank you, guys. And I just want to say the hugest and humblest thank you to him, and I agree with him 110%. So,
well, of course you would.
Of course. Well, I mean, it's hard to argue. So, from Missy and me and Christian and Jared and Josh and everybody, the whole ICP family, thank you, Mr. Bentley, for that nice and kind tweet, and we really appreciate that, buddy. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, man. I think I tweeted him back like I'm for the first time speechless. So thank you very much, man. Just wanted to shout that out. Like, we always love hearing from the fans, and we try to be as we try to be as try to be as what, Missy, like
social.
Yeah.
Social butterflies.
Yeah, there we go. We were social butterflies. Yeah, that's it. We're social butterflies, sprouting wings and always trying to talk. Yeah. Oh God. All right. So, and yeah, I'm glad I screwed that up. But again, I just want to say thank you to him. So that was really cool. Just wanted to shout him out there. So plugs. Jared, where can we read all your fine journalistic skills in word form?
Yeah, you can check me out at realopenwheel.com and also on Indycar.com from time to time.
Right on. And Josh?
Yeah, you can find my stuff on crash.net, courtesy of the Crash Media Group.
Right on. And by the way, where can they follow both of you on Twitter? Jared, your Twitter handle?
It's Jadapow.
You spell that, please.
JDEPOUW.
Right on. And Josh, Twitter?
You could find me at jfarmer7710.
Right on. And Missy, where can they find all of our good stuff at?
At Missy Links. Oh, sorry. www.theindysportscarpodcast.com.
Right on, and you can also find Christian's book there as well, one click away. So, and I think, again, guys, thanks for coming on this week, and it was a blast hanging out with you guys last week at Iowa, and looking forward to seeing Jared at Mid Ohio and Josh at Gateway.
Yep, that's it, sir.
Right on. Looking forward to seeing you there too, buddy. So, guys, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. And Missy, I think on that note.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me too.
And on that note, you know that I know that, well, everyone knows, including Frank, Jared, and Josh, Iowa's a great success, and Might Ohio, here we come.
Here is the Racecast weather forecast for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. I'm meteorologist Doug Schneider. High pressure over Ohio through the week will start to shift east over the weekend. This will bring warming temperatures and increasing humidity through the event. Saturday will be a nice day for racing with mostly sunny skies, high temperatures in the mid-80s, and a southwest wind at 5 to 10 miles an hour. No rain is expected on Saturday. Sunday will have a slightly better chance of seeing some rain, but the chance of rain is still quite low. Afternoon heating may lead to some isolated showers or thunderstorms in the Mid-Ohio area, but the chance of one hitting the track is only about 20%. Most of the day will be mostly sunny, with high temperatures in the upper 80s, with humidity levels making it feel closer to 90 degrees. Winds will be from the southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. For the most up-to-date forecast and weather updates through the race, visit racecastweather.com and follow RacecastWX on Twitter.